Hi, I'm Nancy, the Kentucky Garden Gal. I'm coming to you from South Central Kentucky. We are a Zone 7. I live in an 1880 Vogue Victorian where I have been gardening for the last 27 years. My grandmother taught me the love of gardening. It's my passion and I want to share that with you. I have my small city lot absolutely packed full. Shrubs, plants, raised beds, backyard chickens, a koi pond, and even a secret garden. If I can garden and make things grow, I'm convinced anybody can do it. I'm glad you're here, and I hope after watching this video you feel encouraged. Let's get started. Hey everyone! I had a viewer that asked if I could do a video on vertical gardening and trellises. And I just happened to have a dear friend who enlarged his raised beds. He actually added a cattle panel. So I gave him a call and said, hey, could I come over and shoot some video and show folks what you've done? And he said he would love to have us. So we're gonna head on over to Junior and Sheila Logan's house, but first, we're gonna go to Subway and get Cameron some lunch. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks and have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. We are going through the Franklin Square and I'll get to show you just a little bit of it. We have a stoplight, so I'll get to show you the courthouse that's on the right. We have a beautiful little historic square. There's Merlin, the horse. There's our square. Isn't it beautiful? Have a few more businesses down this way. On the right is our Chamber of Commerce and our library, and the elementary school is coming up.
I went to the school.
It's just a sweet little town. Almost there.
Get to where the old we are going to get away old mere dog.
Here we are, and the first thing that you see when you come to Junior and Sheila's house is their beautiful koi pond. So Cameron can sit right by the koi pond and have his Subway. Look at the tomato, it's about ready to pick. Let's head on out to the raised beds and meet Junior and Sheila. Look how beautiful this is. The banana trees are growing. I think I see them. Hey there.
Ah.
This is Junior and this is Sheila and this is their raised beds. There's a total of 6 beds and it is absolutely beautiful. And we're just in the middle of June, but their garden is really growing. So let's get up here and talk to Sheila, and if I'm not mistaken, are these tomatoes taller than you?
Very much so.
How long have you had your raised beds?
We started raised bed gardening in 2013. And the reason why is because our original garden space was way too shaded to produce any type of vegetables. We spent a couple of years with challenged gardening because of all the shade. So Junior had the bright idea of doing the raised bed gardening. So it worked out because we have back issues as well as I have side issues. So it brings everything up to where I can actually see what I'm doing and I don't have to bend over to get weeds or whatever. So that makes it a lot easier.
So can you take us bed by bed and show us what all you're growing?
Sure. Let's start with the farthest one because it looks a little sparse right now. We have lettuce, I had radishes, and I still have some green onions. And there's also some cilantro sparsely situated in the bed. It's come up from last year.
I see that.
And then this bed we have banana peppers as well as green bell peppers. And they're blooming. There's baby peppers on here somewhere.
How often do you fertilize?
We fertilize about once a month.
And what do y'all use?
Triple 10 fertilizer. Now, in my newer beds, the newer beds are the two that's out there close to you. This is their first year.
Let me turn around so you can see these. Oh my word.
We had some issue with blossom end rot, and I had to find something, a fertilizer that had a lot of phosphorus and calcium in it. So that was a challenge, but I think we've got that under control. And we've got cucumbers growing on the cattle panel.
Okay, so let's talk about that, and maybe Junior could come around to the front of the cattle panel and tell us, first of all, where he got this.
Cattle panel come from Tractor Supply, and they just arched it over so it'd make it easier for the cucumbers to be able to reach and get them, and for her to see them. So that's the reason we done this. Plus, we were just trying to make it look pretty.
Well, it's great vertical gardening. And can you tell us about how you've attached the cattle panel to your beds?
Yeah, just drove some T-posts in and wire tied them in. It's just an easy fix.
We don't have to worry about tying the vines to the cattle panel.
They're going to do it
on
themselves as they grow. See how they're attaching. So
look at that.
Yeah. So they know what to do.
Yeah. So what have you got in here?
There's squash in this one and the cucumbers on this side. There's also some basil on the end.
Yeah.
I've got one plant right there. It's beginning to bloom.
I think I just saw a bee, but we scared it off. There's your basil. And look at her squash.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's just full of squash.
And then on this one, there's more cucumbers, and we've got zucchini as well as some fennel that makes the bulb, and there's a dill plant, and there's also a little clump of thyme that's in there.
So talk about your tomatoes here.
Okay, the tomatoes, we bought the plants already beginning to grow from some Amish friends, and they have a nursery, and we bought several different types, some that we haven't grown, so I'm kind of anxious to see what we get this year as far as production of tomatoes. I've got the Amish paste tomatoes, and I've heard that they are really good with sauces. I've tried to grow Romas before. Haven't had a lot of luck with them, so I went the opposite route and tried Amish paste. There's also German Johnson tomatoes, which are supposed to be very large. and I think that's the reason why I've got such tall vines this year. I've got 4 different types of cherry tomatoes. I've got red, I have yellow, I have black, and I have white.
Oh, the black sounds exotic.
Yep. So, and all of them came from the Amish nursery.
The Amish, yeah.
I'm really anxious to see what goes on with those. And I've got my old standby of the Better Boys.
The Better Boys.
Uh-huh.
So, Sheila, we're in Zone 7, and if you could give some gardening advice for new beginners, what do you think that might be?
If you're going to start from seeds, for our zone, you really need to start inside probably in January to start getting your plants and to grow. And once you do that, we don't do very many plants from seeds anymore because we like the instant gratification that you get when you have plants that somebody else has already grown. And once you start, you need to be faithful about weeding and making sure that the cats aren't using the box and scratching the plants around.
Not your cats.
Yeah,
oh, not your cats.
And let's see, we haven't had a whole lot of trouble with squash bugs or any type of that, but you do need to spray every so often. I use stuff that's not all natural, which I know somebody's probably going to smack my hand, but I really like 7 Dust to keep the squash bugs at bay. You can always use neem oil, but I don't care a lot for that. Like I say, I'm an instant gratification person, so that's part of that. And I don't know, what else do you want to know?
Let's see. Let's talk to Junior just a little bit. Have to get Junior on tape. So you're the one who actually built the beds,
Right.
and these beds are facing north and south.
Right.
Right. So with a raised bed, you don't want it any more than 4 feet across because you want to be able to reach over it from both sides. Right.
This works right here for us. You know, it's a 4x8 box, and it takes 18 landscaping timbers to make a box, and it just, like I say, for us, as short as we are, it just works for us.
And when you're gardening in raised beds, how yours would be 2 foot deep?
Yep.
2 foot deep. So you need at least 6 inches to grow successfully in a raised bed. And some of the advantages of raising your fruits or vegetables in a raised bed is you can have better drainage, of course, by raising the soil. It extends the growing season. Like Sheila said, it protects your plants from the animals. You can manage your soil better. You can put really good soil in right out of the gate. There's no tilling.
Right.
There's no tilling, and it's easy garden maintenance as far as weeding goes. Now, do you all have a weed barrier down between the grass and the raised beds?
We do. We use these rubber mats. We line inside the box and underneath everything to try to prohibit those weeds from ever starting. And it seems to work pretty good for us.
You were talking about pests. When we started originally on this property with our garden, we had a lot of trouble with deer. And the deer would pay a visit at night, and they would nibble all my beans. They would also nibble anything else that was fresh up out of the dirt. So we had a real hard time getting the garden started. And with the raised bed gardening, we haven't had that problem because they won't come up here close to the house.
That's a great solution.
So that was a really good idea that he had as far as trying to keep them out of all the stuff.
And I'll get a copy of that. But you said a good idea.
Well, you two have done an absolutely fantastic job. You have a great example of raised beds. Like Junior said, they're going north to south. The cattle panel is going east to west. Like, you guys have done everything by the book, and it shows, because look at these luscious vegetables and herbs. They are absolutely gorgeous. I appreciate you all so much letting me come out today and filming this, and I hope that we've encouraged someone to try a raised bed. Thanks, you guys. This garden is just full of clever ideas. Junior has taken a mailbox and he's put it right next to his raised beds where he can keep all of his tools in. And what have you got there, Junior?
This is what we use to tie up the tomatoes.
Show us how that works.
Well, right here we found one that was loose, and we'll fix it. Yeah, we got a straggler right here that needs coming up. So you just put this around it. There you go.
And it's done.
It's done.
Now, what is that called, Junior?
It's a strapper. That's all I know to tell you.
It's
It's a plant strap that they use in nurseries.
Do you remember where you got it?
Off Amazon. It
Off
did come
Amazon.
off Amazon.
Okay.
I thought maybe there might be a name on it.
Don't see it.
It's a tape tool, is all they say.
Well, it certainly does an excellent job, and it sure was fast.
And
Just
because
click, click.
Sheila's eyesight is so bad, I didn't use, we started the first year we used it, we used red straps. So guess who thought that things were ripe and ready? So everything I got ready to pull was a red strap, not a red tomato.
Oh no!
We had to change them to
So we
blue.
had to change to blue or to green so
But
we
it's-
can actually see.
It's really simple, because we can go around the T-post. We like the T-post. And it goes right around. Oh, I missed it. Would do that, wouldn't I? I tore it too easy. Let me get rid of this.
So,
Little fusses are
let me also explain, I think you've told me before, you have one T-post for every 2 tomatoes. You
Right.
have it on both sides.
on both
That's
sides.
correct.
Okay, so how many total tomato plants are in these boxes?
8 posts, 16.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
16 tomato plants in a 4x8. That is incredible.
Yep.
There we go. Let's see what Junior's doing. That worked. Simple. And I noticed an owl behind you, Sheila.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
We
your
have to
buddy?
move him every day, and that keeps the birds from pecking the tomatoes and messing all over my plants, that kind of deal. So
So far it's working. They hadn't even
it's
bothered.
worked. My problem is my tomato vines are taller than my T-posts, so he kind of looks like he's hiding sometimes.
That's actually a good problem to have.